27-year-old man runs out of his house at 6 in the morning, reportedly naked, no phone, no shoes, no wallet, no keys, and nobody can tell us why. 3 days later, divers pull his body from a pond less than a mile from his front door. And here's the thing. Police say there's no foul play, but they also say the investigation is still open. So which one is it? Because the story of what happened to Nathan Smith, Lil Jon's only son, has more unanswered questions than answers. And the silence from everyone involved, that's louder than anything. Let me walk you through the whole timeline, because when you lay it all out, the details don't sit right. On the morning of February 3rd, 2026, Nathan Smith left his home in Milton, Georgia. Milton is this quiet, affluent suburb about 30 miles north of Atlanta. We're talking cul-de-sacs, parks, ponds between houses, the kind of neighborhood where nothing happens. Nathan was 27. He went by DJ Young Slade. He was Lil Jon's son. And according to the Milton Police Department, he ran out of his house on foot at approximately 6 a.m. under what they called unusual circumstances. Now, let's talk about what unusual circumstances means when police say it. They said he left without his phone, without his wallet, without his keys. Reports indicated he may not have even been wearing clothes. The police's own missing person poster said he may be disoriented and in need of assistance. That's a very specific phrase. Disoriented, not dangerous, not fleeing, disoriented. That tells you law enforcement, from the very beginning, believed something was happening to Nathan, not that Nathan was doing something. But here's where it gets interesting. Nobody has publicly said what happened inside that house before he ran out. What made a grown man bolt out of his door at dawn with literally nothing? Was he having a mental health crisis? Was something happening in the home? Did somebody call 911 before he left or only after? We don't know. And as of right now, nobody's telling us. The Milton Police Department responded quickly, and that's worth noting. This wasn't a situation where the family had to wait 24 or 48 hours before anyone would take a missing person report seriously. Officers mobilized immediately. K-9 units were deployed. Multiple agencies got involved. They searched neighborhoods, streets, wooded areas, parks, and bodies of water around the Baldwin Drive area where Nathan lived. They specifically looked at Mayfield Lake along Baldwin Drive, though authorities said at the time they weren't sure whether the lake was connected to his disappearance. They included it as a precaution because of how close it was to the house. The missing person alert went out across social media. Nathan was described as 5 feet 9 inches, about 150 pounds, short black hair, with a distinctive lips tattoo on his right collarbone. The alert classified him as potentially vulnerable. Lil Jon's social media profiles shared the flyer. The Atlanta hip-hop community amplified it. Everyone was looking. And then, 3 days of nothing. No phone activity because he didn't have his phone. No credit card use. No ATM withdrawal. No contact with friends or family. No sightings. No digital footprint of any kind. Just complete silence for 72 hours. In a suburban neighborhood in 2026, a person vanished within walking distance of houses and nobody saw anything for 3 full days. Think about that. A rep for Lil Jon gave a brief statement to Billboard while the search was still active. The family is asking for privacy at this time. We are also asking for continued prayers for Nathan to come home safe. Meanwhile, the Milton Police Department confirmed on February 5th that there were no new developments regarding the whereabouts of Nathan Smith, and that the case remained an active investigation. 2 full days in with K-9 units and search teams working the area, and they had nothing. No leads, no trail, no witnesses, in a neighborhood full of houses. Now, this is the part nobody talks about. On February 6th, 2026, the search shifted. Authorities expanded to include a pond in Mayfield Park near Nathan's home, and the decision to bring in dive teams from the Cherokee County Fire Department told you everything you needed to know. This was no longer a search for a missing person. This was a recovery operation. At approximately 11:53 a.m., divers located and recovered a body from the pond. The Milton Police Department issued a statement saying the body was believed to be Nathan Smith, pending official confirmation from the Fulton County Medical Examiner's office. And they added a line that has been debated online ever since. Based on the investigation to date, there is no indication of foul play. But, and this is key, they also said the Criminal Investigations Division would continue to treat it as an open and active investigation. They said no further details would be released until the official cause and manner of death were determined. So let me ask you a question. If there's no foul play, why keep the investigation open? And if the investigation is open, how can you definitively say there's no foul play? The answer is you can't. Not yet. Not without a cause of death. And, as of right now, that cause of death still hasn't been publicly released. That same day, Lil Jon, real name Jonathan Smith, and Nathan's mother, Nicole Smith, posted a joint statement on Instagram. The post had 3 emojis and some family photos. Lil Jon wrote that he was extremely heartbroken for the tragic loss of our son. He described Nathan as the kindest human being you would ever meet, called him immensely caring, thoughtful, polite, passionate, and warm-hearted. He mentioned that Nathan was a music producer, an artist, an engineer, and a graduate of NYU. He thanked the community for their prayers and support during the search, and that was it. No press conference, no follow-up interview, no second post, just one statement, then silence. Now, Lil Jon did post one more thing a few days later, a video of baby footage of Nathan set to Boys a 2, Men's One Sweet Day, with the caption, "This hurts so bad. I love you, son." Celebrities flooded the comments with condolences. But in terms of addressing what happened, how it happened, or why it happened, nothing. And look, a grieving parent doesn't owe the public an explanation. That's fair. But when the circumstances are this unusual, the silence invites questions. And here's where it connects to something bigger. To understand Nathan, you have to understand what his life actually looked like, because this was not some troubled kid with a track record of problems. This was someone who had been building something real. Nathan Smith was born on April 30th, 1998, to Lil Jon and Nicole Smith. He grew up in Atlanta, surrounded by music. According to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, he got the DJ bug in 2008 when he was about 10 years old, after watching his father perform at an after-party for the Trans World Skateboarding Awards. Lil Jon saw the interest and set up turntables in Nathan's bedroom. By 13, Nathan graduated from Scratch DJ Academy and won the Across the Fader DJ Battle, reportedly the youngest competitor in the event. At 14, he went on an 8-week nationwide tour as Zendaya's DJ. This was early Zendaya, Disney Channel era. Nathan later said the experience taught him how to perform, how to control a crowd, how to develop a stage presence. After the tour, he landed a weekly DJ residency at Club Divi 8 in Los Angeles, which he held for 2 years before enrolling at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts. He graduated from the Clive Davis Institute of Recorded Music in 2020. After college, Nathan co-produced Saweetie's 2021 track Get It Girl, which was featured in a Beats headphones commercial and on HBO's Insecure. He worked with Ice Cube on the 2024 album Man Down. He collaborated with the Yin Yang Twins. He appeared alongside his dad on Celebrity Family Feud. In March 2025, he was featured on the 2nd season of MTV's docuseries Family Legacy, where he talked about his relationship with his father and showed off his recording studio. In that same period, he sat for an interview with the Quintessential Gentleman, where he talked about making his career his own. This was a young man with a BFA from one of the top music programs in the country, credits with major artists, and his whole career ahead of him. He wasn't some recluse. He was performing at one Musicfest in Atlanta in October 2025, just a few months before this happened. He was at the 2024 MTV VMAs. He was actively working, actively visible, actively building. In the Family Legacy docuseries, he talked about how his father doesn't take it easy on him in the studio. He said Lil Jon screams for the next take, tells me how to mix records and pick certain sounds, and that it made me work faster and be a better music maker. That's a man who was engaged with his work, engaged with his family, and by all accounts, moving forward. So what changed? And honestly, Nathan's story goes back even further than most people realize. When he was a toddler, his voice was actually featured on the Lil Jon and the East Side Boys single Bia Bia back in 2000. He did some acting work and commercials as a kid. He was in the studio when his father recorded Turned Down for What, and said being there made him feel like he was part of his dad's success. This wasn't someone on the outside of the music world looking in. He was born into it, trained for it, and was making real moves in it. So what happened on the morning of February 3rd? Now there's also the family context that matters here. Lil Jon and Nicole Smith were together for over 2 decades. They married in Puerto Rico in 2004 in front of about 80 guests, reportedly including Usher and Snoop Dogg, but they separated amicably in early 2022. Lil Jon later told XXL magazine that the divorce process hit him hard emotionally, and it led him to meditation and eventually to his 2024 album Total Meditation. By late 2023, he was in a new relationship with Jamila Sozada, a reality TV personality and physician assistant. They had a daughter, Nahara, in November 2024. Nathan was Lil Jon and Nicole's only child together. The divorce, Lil Jon's new relationship, a new baby half-sibling. There's a lot of family change happening in a short window. I'm not drawing conclusions. I'm just laying out the timeline. The fact that Lil Jon and Nicole came together to issue a joint statement about Nathan's death using "our son" language tells you something about the family dynamic. But neither parent has spoken publicly beyond that one Instagram post, and the community has questions. A lot of people online have been asking the obvious. How does a 27-year-old drown in a suburban pond? How deep is that pond? Was there an autopsy? Was there a toxicology report? Were there any witnesses at all during those 3 days? Did any doorbell cameras or security footage pick up anything? Was anyone else home when Nathan left the house that morning? Who reported him missing and when exactly? And here's another thing people have noticed. The police said Nathan left his house at approximately 6 a.m., but the missing person report wasn't posted on the Milton Police Department's Facebook page until that evening. So there's a gap. Hours passed between when Nathan allegedly left and when the public was alerted. Now, maybe the family tried to find him on their own first. Maybe they called police earlier and it just took time to process the report. But that gap has people asking questions, and right now, there are no answers. There's also the question of the pond itself. Mayfield Park is close to Nathan's home. Police initially said they weren't sure the lake was connected to his disappearance, but included it as a precaution. Then, 3 days later, that's exactly where they found him. If the pond was close enough to be a precaution on day 1, why did it take until day 3 to send divers in? Were they searching it by other means first? Did something new come to light that led them back to the water? Again, we don't know. These aren't conspiracy theories. These are basic questions that any investigation would need to answer. The Milton Police Department has been measured in their responses. According to their statements, they coordinated with multiple partner agencies, brought in K-9 units, used dive teams, and conducted what appears to have been a thorough search. But they've released almost nothing about what they found, what they think happened, or when the medical examiner's report will be made public. They asked for privacy for the family. The family asked for privacy, and the investigation remains listed as open and active. So here's where we are. Nathan Smith, 27 years old, NYU graduate, accomplished DJ and producer, ran out of his Milton, Georgia home at dawn on February 3rd, 2026, reportedly naked and disoriented. He had no phone, no shoes, no belongings. He was found dead in a nearby pond 3 days later. Police say no foul play, but the investigation is still open. The medical examiner has not publicly released the cause or manner of death, and nobody in his family or inner circle has said a word beyond one Instagram statement. That's not a conclusion. That's a story that's still being written. And until the medical examiner's report comes out, until someone explains what happened inside that house at 6 a.m., until we get answers to the most basic questions about how a young man ended up in that water, this story isn't over. What do you think happened that morning? And does the silence from everyone involved make you more concerned or less? Drop your take in the comments, because I genuinely want to hear where y'all land on this one. If this is your first time here, go ahead and subscribe. We stay on stories like this until the truth comes out. And when that medical examiner's report finally drops, you'll hear about it here first. Because right now, the only thing we know for certain is that a 27-year-old man with everything going for him is gone. And the people who should be explaining why aren't saying a word.